Welcome to Tony Tutorial's Blender Tutorials. Now in the previous tutorial, tutorial 1 on multi-cameras, we learned how to bring these three cameras into our scene. Now in this one you'll notice I've got something quite strange in the middle here. This is an empty. And this empty is manipulating all three of these cameras. We've also got some little chains here, which are our constraints. They're all constrained to Melina. In hindsight I should have put one constraint to the cone, but we can use the one to show you how constraint works and also how the empty works. So what I'm going to do first of all is add a new camera. Well, let's just show you how the constraint works. You'll notice this camera here is moving along and it's staying focused on our protagonist. If we didn't have it constrained, the view would just go straight through there and it would lose Melina. Let's do the same with this one. As you notice it didn't, so let's go to, I believe, camera 2. As I move camera 2, you'll notice same thing occurring. It's staying focused on the object. This is because of the constraint. Do to that one, and that's the camera, and it'll do the same thing. Notice the camera is staying focused on Melina. If I do the empty will move all three cameras, but it doesn't stay focused on the object because the empty doesn't have a restraint. Only the cameras have the restraint. If I flick to this one, and again use the empty, you'll see the empty. So it gives you two choices whence using your camera setup. You can stay focused on your object, or you can use the empty and your object will come out of view. So if I use this one, and I go to my empty, my back camera, so you can do a shot of the scenery, shot of the cone. But I was a little over anxious and I put all three cameras focusing on her, so the cone doesn't have a camera focusing on it. So let's move this camera out of the way, and I'm going to bring in a camera here. So we're going to add a camera and attach it to an empty. Well, where's our empty gone? There's our empty. There's our empty there, look. I'm going to bring our empty into the center. So where am I going to put my camera? If I move my empty across, maybe I should put my camera here on the 3D cursor in the center, and I'm going to add a camera. You notice the camera's coming upside down. So what I'm going to do is go here. I've got global selected. I'm going to bring the camera up. I'm going to get it to point at our cone. thus. From here I should have another camera there, and it's focused in on our cone. Now to add a constraint, so I want this camera to continually keep the tail in focus of our ship when we have it back in the scene. I'm going to pull that back. It's going to be more or less like a little top view. I'm going to bring it up, bring it across. I'm just going to take it down a wee bit. So I've got a reasonable shot of this. Now, with my camera selected, I go to the chain, I go to constraint, I'm going to damp track. This brings me up this little box here. Target. What is my target? Well, my target is going to be my cone. So I'm going to select, cone. As you notice, it's suddenly, it's pointed down to the ground. Well, is it going to point to X? No. Is it going to point to Y? No. Is it going to point to Z or Z, as we say in England, not the American? Is it going to point to minus X, minus Y, or minus Z? Ah, it likes minus Z. So that's where that camera is. So there's your constraint. Onto camera 3 is put the button in. So remember, click the chain, add constraint, set target, the cone. It'll flip, always flips. It'll go upside down. Press your X, see if it's in Y, see if it's in Z, see if it's in minus X, see if it's in there. It's in minus Z. And again, this is targeted to that cone. So as you notice, it's got a little checkered line there telling you it's attached. Now, I want to attach this to my empty. Click. Cone. Empty. Let's take it back to use my empty with this camera. So click on your camera. It was on cone, let's have a look again. It was on cone, and now click on empty. It's gone to the empty. Now what we can do, click on your empty and bring our target camera back to the cone, and this will work exactly the same way as the other cameras work. Bring it back. Sure we can. Okay. So that's how we use multiple cameras in the scene. That's how we use constraints, and that's how we work with empty, which is an excellent little tool. So I select, let's just do this one more time before we come off. I select scene. This is camera. Let's go to camera 1. Let's go to our empty. Let's select and let's move empty, and let's get Melina back into the scene. Even though all the cameras move, but you can only work with one camera at a time. You're not going to work with 5 cameras or 6 cameras all at once. You're going to place your cameras into different fields of perspective. And again, with cameras, I find it very, not difficult, but you've got to think things through with cameras. Cut, edit, cut, edit, cut, edit, because different positions. You can't just do it once if you want to get a good scene. You've probably got to go through it 5 or 6 times using camera in different positions until you get what you want. But anyway, kids, that's multiple cameras with constraints and using your MT. So I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have, this is part 2 of multiple cameras. We're going to go in and track a camera path on the next one, and then start to use our cameras actually in the scene itself, and try and do a good scene using the camera positions. So you take care now. Remember, subscribe if you'd be so kind, and I'll see you later. So you stay out of trouble, and ciao for now.